Hey guys, we are officially back with another one of CCA's interview, which is part of our outreach series. Did y'all miss me? Because I sure miss y'all. For those who don't know, my name is Aaliyah. I am a CCA intern and a facial difference advocate, where I enhance public awareness of and education on individuals with visible differences. I too was born with a facial difference called Goldenhar syndrome that came with a long road of surgeries, therapies, and a lot of rehabilitation. But as you already know, it never stopped me from achieving any of my goals. So today I am joined with Bridgett Garcia. Bridgett was born and raised in Jersey City, New Jersey, and currently resides in Hudson County, New Jersey. She is currently 33 years old and was born with McCune Albright Syndrome, which manifested when she was 7 years old and currently works as a medical biller for a nonprofit. Welcome, Bridgett. How are
Thank
you
you
today?
for having me.
Of course, of course. How are you today?
I'm fine, a little tired, but yeah. How are you?
Same here. Like it's the beginning of the week, so we're all getting adjusted. I wish it was
Yeah.
Friday, but 3 days left. We're almost there.
I do the countdown too.
Countdown is so real, so real. Well, again, it is a pleasure to have you on our series, and thank you so much for joining and sharing your time with us. I really appreciate it. So to start us off, I know I said like a little short bio about you, but can you share more with us about who you are and your difference?
so I'm 33, and some days it feels like I'm a little bit older though, because of my condition and running around and surgeries and everything. So it's been a tough road. I'm not gonna lie. It's been hard, but friends and family have always been supportive of me, and they've always had my back. So yeah, they're truly what keeps me going every day.
And I know I mentioned the name of your syndrome. Can you pronunciate one more time how I don't know if I mispronounced it.
Sure, it's Mccune Albright syndrome.
Sorry. And is that a rare genetic phenomenon?
Yes, it's a rare genetic disease.
Wow. And it only affects your facial bones, and does it ever affect, your body, your whole body too as well?
So there's two types. They have mono, which would be like one bone that's affected, or poly, where it's multiple bones. And I happen to have like poly Mccune Albright fibrous dysplasia, which is a bone condition. And I also have the syndrome. Uh, so basically, that's affected my face, my ribs, my back, and my left femur. And I recently discovered that it's also affected some of my fingers. When I was having some issues with like carpal tunnel, I had to get surgery recently. So yeah, it's affected a lot of different bones for me. Um, and it also affects like my endocrine system. So I've had like tumors. I unfortunately also had breast cancer, which I think was caused by the syndrome as well. It was never confirmed, but they've been doing studies on this, and a small number of women have been affected. So it was caught really early, so I didn't have to do chemo or radiation. But unfortunately, I had to get my breast removed. Um, so yeah.
And you said the syndrome it manifested when you were 7 years old.
Yeah, it slowly started manifesting because I started my period at that age, and my parents were kind of like just shocked, like what is happening? Why is a 7-year old bleeding? Um, so I had a lot of testing done, and my pediatrician at the time was wonderful because he was able to refer me to Columbia University in New York City. So they've been a lot of help over the years, and Children's Hospital of Philadelphia as well. Um,
Yeah. Oh wow. That's so interesting that you just mentioned how, your syndrome could have been the cause of breast cancer. That's really, really interesting. And when did you know or like realize that you had what age? When you had breast
This was actually I was 24 at the time, and I just had like a lump, which is common, to for women to get lumps, especially when you are having your period. But I noticed that I was having like pain, a lot of pain with the lump, and I knew that something was wrong because in the past it never hurt. So I was actually told that it was non-cancerous, and they did like a biopsy, which was wrong, um, like a fine needle aspiration. So they never actually like opened up my breast and took out the tumor. They just used the needle. So, I guess it was missed or something. And this tumor just kept growing. And I asked the doctor to remove it at the time, the breast surgeon who I was referred to. And I asked her, I think I need this removed because it's hurting more. It's growing now. It doesn't feel right. So when they removed it, they did like that biopsy, and that's when they confirmed that it was like stage 0, which was caught really, really early. Um, and they were like, we can remove your breast, your entire breast, because of the area where the tumor was, or you can get radiation, and we'll just remove the tumor. You can choose, which do you prefer? And to be honest, I didn't think really long and hard, but I decided I'm gonna have both of the breasts removed. I'm gonna take a very aggressive approach because I felt that what if this happens again, or what if it grows on the other breast, and then it'll be too late, and I'll have to get like chemo and radiation, and with my condition, that's not good for a bone condition, especially I already have the Mccune Albright Syndrome in the sternum and my ribs. So it's just very risky. And I decided to take the aggressive approach. And I did get implants, so that helps. Uh, in a way, fill the void, but it's not the same. It's definitely not the same.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. My next question for you is, it's so cool that we're able to relate on, our differences and, on our stories. What was your coping mechanism when you were going through, your journey?
So my coping mechanism, I'm Catholic, so I like praying a lot. I also like writing. I enjoy writing poetry. Um, just looking at different. I have a rabbit, so I like looking at different bunny photos or just playing with my bunny.
Buddy,
Yeah,
boy, girl.
it's a boy. His name is Mocha.
Oh, Mocha, what's up, Mocha? Also, love, love, and I am such a spiritual person as well, and I would say that definitely, and still to this day, helps me and gets through, anything I go through. So, um, yeah, that is my rock. That is my firm foundation. I always, lean on to, my one and only. But I know you work in the nonprofit area, and I know it's all about mental health, which is so, so important, especially, in the society we live in,
Yeah.
spread more awareness on. Can you share more about what you do and everything?
So I work at a mental health nonprofit that caters to people with severe mental health conditions, and the program where I'm actually working at is a partial care program. So they're there from like 8:30 till 3 p.m. every day, and I get to engage with them, which is really nice. I like the fact that I'm not a therapist or a counselor, but I can still talk to them.
Right.
And, I've had to educate some of them about my condition as well. To be honest, I feel that I've been accepted more because of it, just being more open about it and talking about it with them, um, which makes me feel good. And I love what they do
Yeah.
for them and the treatments that they offer them and how much help that they get. Um, and I feel that there are people that are misunderstood. Um, so I also get to see the ugly side, I guess, of what goes on. And yeah, I try to be more compassionate and understanding towards them. Now that I work there, I get to learn more about their condition. So yeah,
Well, I really appreciate everything you do and for just, putting yourself out there because, when I was younger, I don't think I would ever call myself, even sharing my story or like working in a career space or an environment where I basically have to tell my story or, like, open up and be more empathetic and, be vulnerable, which is something I still, sometimes struggle today. But it's so cool to, to see and know that, you are doing as well and, you're accepting of yourself and you're willing to give that and educate others as well, which is so important because I know
yeah,
a lot of other people who are like above the age of 30 and 40 who are still not loving within themselves within the facial difference community. So
yeah.
it's cool to me, another beautiful confident woman like you just just
Thank
being
you.
stuff. Yes. And how I found you was through social media. And I think it was through how did we I think it was TikTok or I think it was TikTok. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need to have her on my series. I used to Miss Khadija, who is my boss, like I tell her a list of names and once I saw her, I was like, oh my gosh, yes, 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 yes. Close by. Oh, we definitely have to link up. So that's so cool
Yeah.
that to, find more and more people in the community. And you in the mental health, my next question for you is what do you do outside of work that helps you maintain a healthy, well balanced life?
So sometimes I like to go out like for a stroll at the park. I can't really do a lot of exercising because of my leg and my back. So I have constant pain. And in the winters are pretty rough.
Yeah.
But I try to go out at least for an hour or something, whatever I can manage that day, and kind of be more out there. And that's, to be honest, something I'm still working on. Just going out and about more every day.
Right.
Lately, I've been working, which I just started working at this mental health nonprofit last year in April. So I've been really uh, working and just focusing on that. And sometimes, mentally I'm drained because of the work and my condition. And you also have like an outside life, relationships, family, pets, whatever it may be. So, um, yeah, that's something that I'm currently working on this year and just finding more hobbies, more things to do. Um,
Yeah, same here. I just graduated college not too long ago.
oh, wow.
And
Thank
I
you.
just you know and at the same time I refound who I am. Like I was able to find the my confidence and finally be my authentic self. And I always say like I am 1 years old because throughout my life like that wasn't Aaliyah, like I wasn't myself. So like I'm finally living instead of existing. So like I've been just rediscovering myself, but still like, unlearning and learning more about the community and just, putting myself out there, which I want to talk more about that with you. Do you feel that living with a facial difference has given you like a unique perspective on life? Because for me, like I had a whole different perspective when I was younger and a whole different perspective now. So if you can, I'm sure about that.
So I definitely feel that it's given me like a unique perspective. I see how people that don't have a facial difference are treated every day,
Mhm.
compared to how they treat me, and just the assumptions, I guess, that people constantly have about who you are and what you're capable of, and you know, like they kind of forget that you are your own person. And it's always, I feel like sometimes it's a struggle to have to prove yourself, and that's not fair, but what can you do? You have to do it. You have to prove yourself. And it's a way of advocating. I feel like it's a way of advocating and showing people that you are capable of doing this. Like, yes, I look this way, I walk this way, I talk this way, whatever. Maybe I'm shy, but it doesn't mean that I can't do whatever I can do or whatever I want to accomplish. You
Mhm.
know, so I think that that's definitely my unique perspective. Um, what would you say is yours?
Ooh, I'm gonna have to say the same thing, proving others, my capabilities, my abilities, because, throughout my, childhood, teenage, years, I let, the world dictate who I was. I let them silence me. And that was the worst thing I could ever let anyone do. Like, I let them dim my light. And it's so crazy because I was recently interviewed yesterday by like a journalist, and I was telling her,
Um,
asking me like some deep questions. And
yeah,
for me, as I mentioned previously, like when it comes to being vulnerable, I struggle with that. Um, but when we had our conversation, I finally let myself, able to breathe and actually like, oh wow, like it's okay to be expressive. It's okay to talk about your feelings. It's okay to open up, because
yeah,
it's so important to share your story and share what you've been through because you never know who's going through what you've been through. So I would definitely say, definitely proving to not only for myself, but to the youth and to the facial difference community. It goes beyond that to anyone that has an invisible or visible difference. And I think it motivates me, my facial difference. Like now, like since I'm in a good headspace, I say my face is a gift. I was born with this for a reason, this is my purpose. And my purpose in life is to share that with others. That's my gift. That's everyone's gift.
yeah.
And it just motivates me and it makes me like happy and so blessed. I'm able to be myself and I accepted my facial difference. Like not a lot of people can say that. They're
That's
different,
true.
you know? And when my friends or my family ask me like, "Oh, Leah, like, what is your goals and aspiration in life?" And I'm like, "I'm living the dream. I'm loving myself. Like, I'm able to, just create friendship and just be my authentic self. Like, that's what I dreamed of. Because little of that. So to be able to, show that and be visible on social media and
Yeah,
to make connections like you and how it's so important. It's so important.
I agree. Yeah, it's definitely important to have a community of people like yourself, who looks different.
Yeah.
Um, I know that growing up, there wasn't. I didn't know anyone else. Despite going to the hospitals, I still never saw any kid that had a facial difference.
Yeah.
Um, and that was hard. It was hard because I felt that I was the only one,
Hmm.
and that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, as an adult now, because of social media, like you're saying, you can just connect with people.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so that's amazing. I love that aspect of of the era that we live in.
Oh, wow. We are truly blessed because I do communicate with other people, well, older communication differences between the age 60 and 70, and they're still living through and trying to
Wow,
live. And
wow,
it's just so crazy because I'm always, my audience is basically majority the youth, and I'm always speaking to, the young side.
yeah,
And just to hear the other perspective and the narratives coming from, the older folks, it's like, wow, like there's still work I need to do. There's still work, always work to be done, but it's
yeah,
wow. But it just motivates me even more to, just be um just have like this is so important, have a series like this, and representation really matters. And I say that everywhere, everywhere. Like
yeah,
I
absolutely.
have, like how you said, like I didn't have anyone in the hospital, that I saw. If you ask my parents today, they're like, "Oh, there was kids there," but like for me, like I didn't, see anyone because I wasn't, looking, or I
Yeah,
wasn't used, or So representation goes a long way. And for us, being, a facial difference, that's something that is so uncommon. You see on television, or even talked about, or even, shown off as beautiful, you know? So it's so important that we have conversations like this, and we're able to help the other lives of others, just trying to find community.
yeah, absolutely. It's true. There really isn't no representation in TV, and when they do have people with like a facial difference, they're like an evil character. I've noticed.
Oh,
Um, Recently, I was watching something, and I was just like, they. She started out friendly
yeah.
and nice, and she slowly became evil.
Mm,
She had friends, and she just the whole thing. I was just like, oh my gosh,
mhm,
this is not good. And
mhm,
that's, I feel like, another problem too,
mhm,
making people with facial differences like villains,
mhm.
um, especially for kids, because
Exactly.
kids are still growing, kids' minds are still changing.
Mhm,
And I feel like that's where it starts, educating the younger children.
mhm,
Like,
mhm,
they're gonna stare, of course, because they're children. They don't know
mhm,
any better, but it's up to the parents to educate them.
mhm.
And I've had instances where the parents didn't say anything.
Right, right.
And that's awkward.
Mhm.
If I'm out on a date or if I'm out with a friend or family and they
Yeah.
point, they laugh, they whatever, and the parent just kind of doesn't say anything.
Ain't it
And it's
crazy? It be the adults that be the worst. Like,
I think it froze. Oh no, it's back up.
just a little bit, but we're back. But yeah, I totally agree. Isn't it crazy that adults are the worst ones when it comes to, seeing someone with a difference, or just their response is just so, I don't know what to
Yeah,
say.
I still don't understand that. I that's I don't get that. And I would like to talk about the story of a horrible experience that I had on a dating app. I think this was like in 2014, so it's been a long time.
Yeah.
So this was the first time that I had signed up on like a dating app at the time, and I received. I didn't post my condition. I didn't post anything, but I got a really rude message
Mhm.
from this man who was just like, well, who would want to be with you? Look at your face. And I remember reading this message and I was just so upset and angry that he felt that he can just message me and talk to me like that. And so I remember I reported him, um, and he was banned. And I decided, I think I cursed him out. I'm not
As
going
you
to say what I said, but I cursed him out. And I posted that screen cap on my photos on the dating app.
yeah,
And then I posted a description saying, if you feel this way, you can keep your thoughts to yourself.
right,
I don't want to hear it.
right. Close mouth, please.
Oh my gosh. But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got a lot of support. I got a lot of support, a lot of messages
Mhm,
from different people.
mhm,
Very just like long messages. And they were just saying how proud they felt of me putting myself out there,
mhm.
despite what people are going to think and how they're going to feel.
Right.
And I think that this really helped me be more open
Mhm.
on that dating profile and just posting, this is a condition that I have,
Wow.
this is what I have. And if you have a problem with that, then you don't have to talk to me. But I'm going to put it out there.
Mhm.
And yeah, it was fine. Nobody, I never got any more rude messages after that.
Well,
Um,
thanks for sharing that. And I I can absolutely say I totally agree with, like, the audience, everyone that was messaging, like, it is very big of you putting yourself out there. Like, I'm 23 years old, never ever, been on a dating app or anything. And I have friends that are like, oh, Lee, you should try the dating apps. And I just can't seem to fathom the thought of myself putting myself out there on social media, especially on a dating app. Like, I've always been so self-conscious of, just showing pictures of myself and just putting myself out there, and it like kind of scares. And I'm like, I never thought of myself. I was able to receive love due to my facial difference, and those thoughts still trickle through my mind sometimes, and it kind of puts me, limits me. But it's so good to hear, especially from, women as well. Like, you guys are putting yourself out there because it's like, okay, like
you
maybe
have to do that too. You have to put yourself out there. You are so pretty.
too as well. And I feel like when it comes to dating, that's scary. But I don't know. That's a whole nother conversation and discussion, which I would love to, talk more about in another segment because that, like in the bio, I remember I had a good conversation with another person who had a facial difference. She's also a woman as well. And she asked a cool question like, you think it's important that we put our condition in the bio, or does that really, matter? So that was a great, it was like a whole like dating conversation and everything, which that conversation needs to be, spread more awareness on and everything. But
Yeah.
my last question for you, I can't believe the last question because I'm having such a great time. Okay,
Yeah, me too.
gotta do a part two or something. But what has helped you build resilience, confidence in your personal and professional life? I know you said earlier that you're Catholic and you lean onto praying and everything, but I tell everyone like when people ask me how are you able to present yourself as confident? Confident is built over time. What is your perspective on what made you you today?
So I definitely feel that my mother, she, from a very young age, when I was having issues at school, she was constantly like, look, you're gonna look different. You're gonna look different as you get older. You're always going to look different, but you have to accept yourself. You can still do makeup if you want. You can still pierce your stomach, your belly button. You can do whatever you want. You're just like all these other kids, but you're just going to look different and you might have to do things differently. But don't forget that you are just like them. And that's something that really stuck with me. My mom, she passed away when I was 14. Um, but those words always stuck with me. And my father was a huge support system as well. Um, and the two of them really build me up. And I still have days where, I don't have that. I don't have that confidence. But I do feel that most days I do, because you have to love yourself. You have to find that within yourself. And even if you're not feeling well, you feel uncomfortable, do your makeup, do your hair, go out, stand out more. Who cares what they think? You're going to stand out anyways.
Right?
We're celebrities. Yeah, people.
You get it. You get it. I love. And my condolences to you about your mom, but your mom is a pure gem because everything she said, my mom said the same thing to me, and that always, resonates with me everywhere I go, everywhere I step into like an event space, because I'm like, okay, you're always gonna get stared at, but make it worth their while. Put on a show, act
Yeah,
like you are the celebrity. And I do. And it helps you build that, that person that you were made to be. So thank you
exactly. Yeah.
so much, Bridgett, for sharing your insight on that.
Thank
For
you. Thank you
me,
for having me.
yes.
It's been so fun. We
I
have to do this again.
for real, for real. We're gonna stay in contact. Thank you so much, Bridgett. It has been such a pleasure chatting with you today. If our audience wants to learn more about you, do you have any social media platform that you would like to promote?
Sure. One second. So my Instagram is Birdie X3, BRIDIEEX3.
Y'all heard that? Y'all go follow her ASAP. No Rocky. We appreciate you sharing this time with us, and we look forward to chatting with you again in soon. Further, thank you. Of
Thank you for having me.
course, of course.